Skadoosh. Oh look, you can't see because of the reflection. I has Nightbolt. Of course I got it on the day of release. Right, here's the box. I'm going to unbox it. It's the ultimate competitive miniatures game. That art's good, isn't it? Spooky. Perfect for almost October. Yeah, there's some stuff on the back of the box. Do you really care? You can see this in the store. Let's do an unboxing. Bye-bye plastic. Good action on that box. Not the tightest box I've ever unboxed. Rulebook and instructions for your models. The board sections. 3 of them? 3 of them. That's 2 more than the previous game, if I'm correct. We have dices, and then models and cards. I'm going to look at the board sections first. Now, I'm not going to look at the rules because, from what I understand, they're basically the same as the Shadespire edition, but with the addition of magic and a few clarifications in the text. I will crack them open to see if the contents of the FAQ has been included in them, for those people that care. No, 2 of the cardboard. It is just 2 board sections. I was correct. I was wrong. We have tokens, which, frankly, I'm probably not going to pop out, because I already have the tokens from Shadespire. Got 3 sheets of tokens. I'll need this one, I guess. The old scatter token. And maybe the chasms, but only if I actually need them. The art on the new objectives is cool. And yes, decent card stock, just like Shadespire's was. And this now, correct me if I'm wrong, but your standard Shadespire attack, your standard Warhammer Underworlds attack dice has got 2 sword symbols on it, which means that this direction is twice as likely to appear as all of the other directions. That's worth bearing in mind, really, isn't it? I could be wrong. I will check. Hang on. Where's my knife gone? An attack dice. No, it's got 2 hammers on it. It's the hammers that's double as many swords. So straight ahead. Straight ahead is twice as likely as all the other directions. I was going to say, it would have been weird if it was that one. No, my brain played tricks on me. Hammers are the one there's 2 of. Of course, because hammers is better than swords. Although apparently this is called Fury. Never met anyone that actually called it that. Just as the way that these will be called lightning bolts and swirlies. By anyone actually playing the game. No one's going to use the real names. Lightning bolts and swirlies. So, we've got some boards, we've got some lethal hexes. Some nice art. I can't really zoom out further than this, unfortunately. I don't have a wide enough angle lens or a place I can put this camera that's far enough back. Hang on, I will just give it a quick... There we go. So here's our board section. Probably don't need this light on. No, that's better. So some standardly nice art. This section, most of the starting hexes are near the edges, which is interesting. This one's got a lot more near the middle of the board, but also these blocked hexes. I was wondering, Because I got the Arcane Terrain set as well, and I was like, I don't recognise those things. So they are for blocked hexes. The big pyramid things. Also, I recognise this from the Lethal Hex expansion set. The extra board tile that you could get, which I did get. It had a very similar design to this, and I remember saying to my partner at the time, I was like, I wonder if that is actually the Night Vault, like if that's an entrance to the Night Vault. Because it looks like a big locked, safe vault type door. And I think I was correct. And there's 3 lethal hexes on it, in a similar pattern to this. But rather than being contained energy sources which are blocked like these are, on the other tile, they're exposed. So you can kind of do a themed board. But obviously that depends upon you and your opponent choosing it. Yeah, magical energies spewing back and forth between things. A pile of skulls or something over here that are on fire. So blocked one side. This would be very interesting. I can imagine Stormcasts wanting to just bundle into this middle section here and just being like, come at me, bro. There's nowhere you can come from. Don't know if that would actually work though. I'm not particularly good at the strategies of take and hold. I'm much more a run up to people and hit them with an axe kind of person. And our other board section, more lethal hexes, lethal and blocked on this one. With the Throne of Nagash going on there, pit of tendrily things. Spiny tendrils, it's a dead octopus. 2 blocked hexes there. So the arcane ruins, hazards, are specifically designed to fit onto the Night Vault tiles, which means we're probably never going to get an expansion for tiles that fill in the blocked hexes on Shadespire boards, so I'm probably going to have to get some of those from third parties if I want them to look cool. And this board section is completely open. So there's only one board section that is completely open, unlike Shadespire, which both of the boards have completely open sections on one side and blocked hexes on the others. This one is just, only one section is completely open. And the completely open one's got most of its starting hexes midfield. 2 on the edges here, 1 up here in this corner. So if you're placing this second and your Stormcasts, you can stick your leader right back in the corner and really annoy your opponent. So that's the board sections. Let's have a quick gander at the rulebook. Probably not going to need the instructions to actually assemble the models. They're push fit deals, so 1 sheet of instructions. Yeah, they look fairly self-explanatory, and it looks like some of the chain rasps are just in one piece. And by the looks of it, ha 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 ha! Thank you, Games Workshop. You did it. You fixed it. They finally put the join for the Stormcast shoulder pad in a sensible place where it can be hidden and doesn't create a massive line down the middle of a shoulder pad. They learned it. I'd like to say they listened to me, but I don't think they did. I think they just listened to everyone that complained about that, which was a lot of people. I like the Stormcast models. I think I prefer these ones over the Fast Riders. I've got more character because they have faces. Learn to play booklet. Yeah, attack symbol smash and attack symbol fury. No one calls them that. Yeah, learn to play. Not, you know, if you haven't played this before, start here. My camera ran out of space on its card partway through doing the rulebook. So, the rulebook. Now, I've already had a quick flick through this just now, and you know, there's basically like 4 pages of lore. Unlike the Shadespire expansion, there isn't a page that's got a picture of all of the upcoming warbands on it. which is interesting. I mean, we know what's coming because they teased them in a video. But yeah, Underworlds had a big double-page spread with all of the warbands on that were coming. A little bit of lore about each of them. Not present in this one. So the rules are basically unchanged apart from the addition of magic and scatter. And lethal hexes are now in the rulebook. The FAQ is not in the rulebook, so if you've got cards from Underworld, from Shadespire, you will need the FAQ to be able to play with them because all of the rulings for those cards are only in the FAQs. Additionally, all of the rules clarifications are only in the FAQs. So, just getting Nightvault for the expanded rules isn't a thing. You will always have to bring the FAQ with you to any event where you're playing Warhammer Underworlds. Nothing has really changed apart from the addition of magic. Interesting thing about the magic dice is they don't have support symbols on. They've only got lightning bolts, crits and swirlies. And no support symbols. Now, in theory this means, it's easier to get off any spell that you want because you've got, 2 swirlies and 3 lightning bolts and a crit. Yes. Yeah, 2 swirlies, 3 lightning bolts and a crit. Which means that lightning bolts have 4 opportunities to succeed and swirlies have 3 opportunities to succeed. As opposed to anyone attacking with melee weapons will need supporting fighters in order to get odds that good. But on the flip side, the defenders still roll the defense dice, and they do benefit from support. So if you've got someone standing next to a spellcaster, going, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" next to them, or just going, "Woo!" and trying to distract them from casting their spell, then it does benefit the defender. But most of the spells are going to be long range, I suspect. Like 3 tiles is probably going to be the longest range. Maybe there'll be a 4-tile one, but I doubt that. It's such a small board. I haven't looked at the cards yet. Don't at me if there's already one that's got 4-tile range on it. But that's beneficial to basically mugging a spellcaster so that you've got 2 support, because they do gain support for cancelling out your supports on defense, I think. No, they don't. They don't gain any support. I'll reread that again. It does say there's a special paragraph here that is about support in magic. So, fighters receive support as normal spell attack actions. They don't actually have the symbols. So you'd still have to have 2 more supporting fighters than the spellcaster has supporting them in order to get the double support on your dice. So I expect those Stormcasts to all bunch up so that they're always supporting each other. So that you will always need 2 supporting fighters to gain that 1 support dice space. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty hard to get the supporting dice spaces on defense, but you do get them, which is good. But otherwise, yeah, it's much easier to cast a spell than it is to do anything else. Just base, because you don't need to get supporting spaces on those dice to get the same odds. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same. The scatter rules are interesting. Quite frankly, I don't think I would rate any scatter spell unless it does damage to everything it passes over or has a big area of effect at the end of the spell. Because the basic way it works is... Let's get the board out. So, let's say you target here. Place this on the board, just on a hex. You can orient it any way you want, it says. So if you want it to go in a certain direction, then obviously hammer's twice as much chance as anything else, and it cannot go backwards. And then you take, let's say it's got scatter 3. You then roll 3 attack dice, and in this case, I get 2 single supports and a double support. As I'm the casting player, I get to choose in what order these apply. So I'm going to use this dice to represent my spell. So in this instance, I would say it's going single support, Which I'm going to say it started there because the dice I've rolled are not great for this. I could say it goes single support, double support. Or I could say it goes single support, double support, like that. I don't think it can change where it ends up, the order you apply them in, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe someone who's better at maths can work out, does it actually ever change where your spell ends up, or does it only affect what it passes over in the interim? So, another example, 2 hammers and a crit. So that would be, let's start it there. 1 for 2 for the hammers, and then crit there. If you do it that way, it doesn't make a difference. No, it doesn't change where it ends depending upon what you roll. It just depends the direction, the way it gets there. It will always end in this tile. So if you can ever get a card that allows you to change the faces on scatter, that would be good. Or re-roll them so that it ends where you want it to. Otherwise, I think anything that scatters is going to be too unreliable to actually depend upon. And I don't foresee many scatter-based spells, for example, ending up in people's decks as a result of that. Like I said, unless you can find some way to manipulate the scatter dice so that it's predictable, I don't see people wanting to use them because it's very little control over where it goes. Even with just scatter 1, yeah, you've only got a 1 in 3 chance that it goes straight forward to using hammers. Those aren't good odds compared to something that just targets a person and damages them. That's way better because you have to get the dice off to actually cast the spell and then scatter it. I don't think they're going to be worth it. To be honest, I think they'll be fun for flavour, but I don't think they're going to be worth it. So the rest of the rulebook is the same multiplayer rules that we're used to. Again, nothing particularly new in there, and a glossary, and then no FAQ, just your turn summary on the back. So no FAQ for the people that were wondering about that. The clarifications aren't in the rulebook, and if you're not going to play a magic-based warband or use anything with scatter on, you won't need to get the new rulebook. The game still plays exactly the same way it played before. There's no mention of cataphrines, however you pronounce that. The relics costing 2 glory to equip. There's nothing about that in the main rulebook. So it's still the FAQ. Is it a beta ruling for that? So ask your tournament operator if they're doing it 2 glory to equip a relic. So that's the boring stuff. Let's get on to the main event for me, which is the models. Here are some cards. I'm not going to go over them. You can see card lists online. I think it's Warhammer Underworlds DB. So you've got pre-built decks for your Stormcasts and your Ghosties, and then extra cards here. Worth getting if you want 2 copies of, say, Confusion or Sidestep, so that you've got doubles of those. This is good for us because we share everything, because it's just me and my partner that play, really, against each other. And now we can both have Confusion in our decks at the same time, which is great. So let's look at the Ghosties first. So let's zoom this in a bit. So here are your Ghosty sprues, and they're on the same size bases as the Sepulchral Guard, apart from the leader, who's on a 32mm. The bases are a combination of flagstones, vines. There's a noose on this one. That's better. Okay. Quite a lot of fragile pieces on the Ghosties, so be careful when assembling them and clipping them, especially these over here, these thorny roses. I have a suspicion a lot of people will accidentally break these when they are clipping them out. My suggestion, clip here, and here, and here, and here. And probably also here and here. Before trying to clip it directly off the roses. Because what tends to happen is, as you're clipping each individual bit off, it will put torque on the piece, and it may twist and bend and break as you do that. So it's better to completely separate it from the sprue at the safer locations before clipping it off. Top tip for taking apart fragile sprues there. The ghosties are very nice models. There's a lot of character to these, actually. I can tell why everyone really loves the Night Haunts, and I'm looking forward to painting these. Oh wow, the detailing on the leader's bodice is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you'll be able to see that if I zoom in. That's that's where it's in focus, I think. It's hard to tell on my camera. So yeah, amazing. More petrified wood. Is that? That must insert into something. I predict these are going to be the most fragile models in Underworlds, to be honest. I'm not looking forward to transporting these. Yeah, there's a lot of detail on here. There's very little in the way of mold lines that I can see. They've done a really good job. I mean, you can always tell the mold line's always going to be running down the middle of this for the most part. And it looks like they've done a really good job of hiding them. I mean, there's some down the cloaks, but, you know, mold removal tool or X-Acto blade and a bit of sandpaper can take those off. But, yeah, it's just a piece of wood. It's just one bit of wood that will go on someone's base somewhere. Maybe over here. Well, it's part number 4. Probably goes with part number 3. Oh, that is that base. That is part number 3. Part number 3, part number 4. That goes over there. So yes, these are some very nice sculpts. A lot of character. I like the guy with no head. I like the leader. There's a guy with this candle doing the wee willy winky thing. Guy with cloth over his face. He was suffocated in a bag. Oh, I know. Once you are hanged, then you get a bag put over your head, don't you? So this person's been hanged. Is that the ever hanged? Probably is. Not a lot of actual skulls to paint, funnily enough, for ghosties, because a lot of them have got their heads completely covered up. So I'm looking forward to painting these. I'm probably going to assemble these straight after editing this video. And then maybe there'll be a live stream on the channel where I start trying to paint them, or at the very least, assemble and prime them. So yes, I'm going to be doing these guys first, before I do the Stormcasts, because my partner wants to play them. I've been very excited about getting the ghosts. And here are the Stormcast Eternals. They're massive. They're on 40mm bases, just like the rest of the Stormcasts. And there is a lady and 2 men, based on the hip-waist ratios. Because I can't find all the fronts of the birth. So I've got 1, 2. Where's the third one? There's got to be a third front somewhere. Why can't I see it? I've gone like change blind or something. Oh, that's a front. I thought that was a back. That's the lady's front. Because definitely boobs. Definitely boob armor. I quite like the female Stormcast models though. Angrad was really nice. Especially once I put a new head on her. So, how are these for head swaps? Pretty good, I think. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to get Space Wolf heads onto these guys, or any other Space Marine heads. So that looks like lady's face, because it's got a slightly narrower chin. and jawline than this one over here that's got a wider jawline. And the plumage is separate, that's interesting. Separate from the backs of their helmets, which I'm not sure if that will be easier to paint separate or not. Don't think it really will make much difference, to be honest. They've only done that for making it all fit on the sprues, I guess. But yeah, you've still got the lines down the middle of the shoulder pads with the hammers on, because they're kind of able to successfully hide the gap along the detail of the hammer there. But my biggest pet peeve always was the blank shoulder pad. Previously they'd put a big line down the middle. Now you've just got a gate to clean up, which isn't a big deal. You cut it off, you sand it down, that's going to be smooth. And the actual edge is in connection with the trim, which they could have done that on Steelheart's Champions and the Fast Riders. They absolutely could have done that on there, they just didn't think of it at the time. So, kudos to Games Workshop that they've learned. They have learned from doing the stuff in the past and everyone complaining about those lines down the middle of the push-fit Stormcasts. I don't think you'll ever see a Stormcast ever have that line down the middle of their shoulder pad ever again after these. It's evident that they've figured out, oh, we need to put it next to the trim. So that's my pet peeve. Lots of robes. So at this point when I'm like, pretty sure I would airbrush the robes and paint the armor. Because percentage area-wise, the robes make up far more of these models than the armor does. But I was thinking of doing these guys in the Anvils of Heldenhammer, which is just black armor in the first place. Black armor and cream robes, like Black Templars, I guess. So that would actually work out quite well, because I'd much rather airbrush a cream than anything else, and painting black smoothly is not a problem because it covers perfectly. So yes, I mean, they're Stormcast Eternal. I really like the new Chamber Sacrosanct models because of all the robes and the flowing details, and these are looking quite good. So I don't know when these will appear on my stream. I'm pretty sure that the Nighthaunt will be the next Warhammer Underworlds tutorial that I do, and also because I'm going to be painting them for my partner to play with, so I'm actually going to have them painted long before the tutorial comes out, because the tutorial probably won't happen until after October. I'm sad to say, but that's because October is October, and I'm super psyched for October. But if you want to see me paint these guys in the Anvils of the Heldenhammer colour scheme, which is black and gold with cream robes, then you'll need to go to my Patreon and vote for those when they come up. Because currently, Magor's Fiends are trouncing these guys. These guys are in dead last place, even after finishing painting the Fire Slayers. Apparently none of my patrons want to see more Stormcast Eternal tutorials after the Fast Riders. They just want Ghosties, and then Magor's Fiends, and then Fire Slayers. Themed in that order. For Warhammer Underworlds. So these might not be for a while. They might not be for a good long while. Couple of months at least in its current state. So if you want to see these sooner than that, you'll have to vote for them. Because I'm personally not in any rush to paint these, unlike the Ghosts. And I've got plenty to be getting on with in the meantime. So if you want to see these in Anvils of the Heldenhammer, Patreon. But otherwise, you should be able to use the tutorials I've done for the Fast Riders, for example, to paint them Tempest Lords colour schemes, no problem. Just paint these robes red and do an off-white for the bits that are overlapping. Otherwise, blue armour, same deal as the Fast Riders colour scheme that's just gone up yesterday. And the Sigmarite's Brotherhood, which I did Steelheart's Champions in, again, you'd be able to use the same methodology, but using purple for the robes rather than anything else. And yeah, that'd be pretty much it. So yes, if you want to see these in the Anvils of the Helden Hammer, you need to vote for them. But other than that, Ghosties are probably next. So that's it. That's the unboxing of the Nightvault core set. I'm not going to go over every single card in detail because this video is probably already about half an hour long, because I ramble quite a lot. Yeah, my conclusion, scatters. Anything that scatters probably isn't worth it. Unless you can make your opponent scatter, that will be interesting. But yes, the rolling 3 dice and then choosing the direction has no effect unless it does damage to things it passes over. Otherwise, doesn't matter, you'll end up in exactly the same place anyway. So yeah, scatter, too random for me. I'll try it out in one game and see if I can make a scatter-based deck. Maybe when the warbands come out in the future, there'll be more cards that allow you to manipulate the scatter dice. But until then, I don't see these being particularly useful. They're too unpredictable. So that's it for this video. Are you excited? Are you unboxing Nightvault today? Are you painting your models right now? Let me know in the comments below. Also, at me on Instagram and Twitter with your paint jobs for your models. I really love seeing other people's paint jobs. And yeah, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe to the channel. And I will be painting the Nightvault series. The Warhammer Underworlds series is showing no signs of stopping. As long as they're making cool models for it, I will continue to keep painting them. Maybe one day I'll actually catch up so I'm in parity with the release schedule. But who am I kidding? I'll probably strip something for 3 weeks and then not paint, and then get well behind. That's what I do. But yes, so Nightvault will be continuing on this channel. I'll be painting everything that comes out for it at some point eventually in the future. So there you go. You can subscribe, press up there to subscribe. You can go check out my Patreon there, where there are a bunch of rewards and such like. There's another video up there that you can watch, and there's my social medias where you can @ me on stuff. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good Nightvault release day. Bye bye.